Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Gandhi, and today this is Gandhi's Thoughts number 58, approaching the big 60. And before we get into today and everything like that, I want to thank each and every one of you, anyone who tuned into the stream, anyone who tweeted out the stream multiple times this weekend. You guys are awesome. Everyone who didn't, you guys can go straight to hell. I'm kidding, but so this weekend was probably just about one of the best Halo 4 events to date. If not one of the best events I've ever been to. Just with really how hyped it was, the anticipation of everything, and really the big shocks. So right off the break, I'm going to start off with just talking about the biggest upsets and then working down. Basically, AGL 8 was nothing more than one big, humongous upset after another, and then people just kind of establishing dominance. That's really what it was. It was. We also saw the game evolve in front of our very own eyes, so that was also really, really cool to see. But so, without further ado, the biggest upset and the biggest shocker of AGL 8 for everyone was the fact that Ambush, our dragon who was on top of a mountain that no one could even dare climb, was slayed. But not by just one team, by two teams. And this dragon, he wasn't even on the mountain. So Ambush had finished 4th place at our AGL 8 Knoxville event. Now, the first team they played was Infamous. Now, the first game they lost Ambush flag, which I guess can be erased and be called Infamous flag because Infamous didn't drop the game once all weekend long. But anyway, so they meet up with Infamous. It's like a 5-4 capture the flag on dispatch. TS, Team Slayer, I think it was Abandon. I'm not sure. All that matters is Infamous 3-0'd them. And then it was Station 9 extraction, and Ambush just got erased off the face of the earth. I think it was 5-0. So that was the first round of Ambush. The big story with the first round of Ambush was really the simple fact that they were lost. That they were playing a game that they played at UMG, but Halo 4 evolved a lot from the time they played it until now. Now, I know a lot of people out there, before I get into the Requiem one, which was just as big, if not bigger, because as everyone knows, Requiem was unbelievably amazing at this last event. Times that, there's times, and this is, the main thing about Ambushes is, we've had God Squads in the past. We really have. We've had a lot of God Squads in the past, and really just dominant teams overall. But those dominant teams never just came out to an event and got 3-0'd in the winners bracket semifinals and then get 3-1'd in the losers bracket semis. Normally the God Squad gets defeated in a very, very heroic way. It gets to the point where it's 3-2 in the winners bracket finals or semifinals, and then in the finals it's 6-4, 6-5. That was not the case with this team. And I can't see any of you in the chat because Firefox is just refusing to allow me to have it. So that's that. But so that was the first one. Now, when I say Ambush was playing a game that was at UMG and not at this one, what I mean by that is the game actually changed a lot over the course of that month. And in that month, everyone kind of knew that, Ambush didn't practice a lot. And it's very, very hard to stay hungry when you're on top of the world like that. When you win every Halo 4 event, it is very, very, very hard. But regardless, that's not an excuse. The other thing is that since, the Halo 4 Global Championship, Snipe Down kind of sold his soul in a way to get out to RTX to qualify for it. So then after the RTX weekend, he had to then go to NJ Halo. Excuses aside here, with all of that considered in, they looked fucking lost. Of the 5 teams there, that were the very top teams, right? But of the 4 juggernauts that we have, and that being Infamous, Requiem, Classic, and then Ambush. Of those 4, there was a decent chance that, Ambush may have been the worst one of those 4 at this past event, which is so weird to say. But it's honestly what it looked like. They just seemed so not there. Like, their shots were good. Everything was clicking all right, teamwork-wise, but they were just completely lost. Like, dispatch flag, no longer can you really just fight on, one level ground. Like, bottom middle is, like, imperative. And the one thing that I think everyone noticed is that running flags left and right is just obsolete to almost. It's like, not obsolete. Like, there's definitely times where you can do it, but when you get two dead, when you have two people on your opposition die, you run that flag and you run it straight bottom middle. And also the other thing is, by running bottom middle on with or without the flag, one, it's the biggest flank in the game. Two, it makes it harder for the enemies to snipe you, because on dispatch most people are just used to looking headshot height, right, with their aimer. They're not used to looking down bottom middle and just changing up and down, up and down. There's a lot of cover there. The only problem is that by running bottom middle a lot, you can get trapped, and that's like, it sucks when you get trapped in there, but you can normally make it out because, well, you have 4 exits bottom middle and there's a lot of cover. So ambush didn't look good on dispatch capture the flag, which they lost 6 total games. I think they lost 6 total games, and they got 4th. So obviously there's something else that's not working there. But like, for me, dispatch capture the flag was really like the big shocker. That's the first time in my entire career I've ever said, holy shit. Like, I want to dissect everything that I just saw happen because it was that fucking good. So ambush loses to Infamous. They get sent to the losers bracket where they face GMM. Give me my money. 3 O's, BTH. Fucking very, very impressive showing. Elitist, Blaze, and the other 2 guys on the squad, they did a very, very good job. I was actually very, very impressed with them. They were very, very disciplined. Very rarely do you see a team actually take time to set up and push out together, and they were it. They were very disciplined, and it was good to see. So they meet up with Ambush. Ambush runs through them. It was like a 19-minute best of 5 series. And then Ambush runs into Requiem. Now, Requiem coming off a big, big, big win versus Team Classic for top 4. So Classic, since they lost to Infamous in the winners bracket, in the quarterfinals, they were on the Requiem side of the bracket for top 4. The series was good. I didn't cast it, but from what I watched, it was very, very, very good. And so, Requiem, they looked fucking good. And the big thing about Requiem was, for me, I was sitting there and I was like, well, they beat Classic. I don't know how good Classic is, like, really on paper. At the tournament, right? Like, I didn't know, because it's very, very hard to judge how a team is when they took Infamous to game 5, which was good, and then Infamous ran through Ambush. So I didn't know what to expect. I did expect that they would be doing well. So anyways, Requiem looks very, very good. Their communication's up, their intensity's up, and their dedication obviously was there the entire time. But more importantly, they were focused. And that's something that was weird and kind of took everyone off surprise. So we're getting ready for the Ambush game. Ambush versus Requiem, which is going to be the winner of that's going to advance to top 3. And I looked at the game types with Ghost, and I was like, dispatch capture the flag. This is Ambush's map, but they play it kind of backwards here. So we'll see. And then he was like, oh, dude, fucking Requiem. And you know how fucking Ghost is. Oh, dude, fucking Requiem. Ghost is like, oh, loves Requiem. And he was all saying how, capture flag on dispatch, it's very, they love that game type. So I was like, well, it's this game type, pretty much everything's going to be riding on it. And so, and what I mean by that is, it's, Ambush that's normally like their big momentum swing. It's like, oh, dude, this is our game type. We're going to go up 5-1. We're going to get heated up. The other team's going to be pissed off. We're up 1-0. Not anymore. So we get into the game. Requiem's there, and I remember I have an Ambush jersey with my name on the back, and Ninja walks by me, and I had my shirt off because it's so hot up there on the main stage. Everyone saw me. I just fucking looked like a glazed donut all weekend. He like fake spit on the back of my jersey. He was like, "You're wearing the wrong jersey." And I was like, "Prove me wrong, right? Just because I'm an asshole and I can kind of say whatever I want." I think after this weekend I'm done with predictions, because we're at the point now where there's a lot of teams who can win, but we'll get to that way later. So So Ninja gets up there, they play capture the flag dispatch, they win 5-4. I didn't know what to think. Dursky sniped down. There was a lot of, and it's not even so much that Requiem didn't run bottom all that much on that game type. They literally played ambush style. They played, we're gonna fight you on even grounds, and we're gonna run the fucking flag wherever we kill you, so you don't spawn there, or we're gonna run it to your sniper so you don't get that off the beginning. But we didn't see anything amazing. We didn't see any of those crazy snipes where we're just like watching snipe down for 10 minutes and he's just ripping everyone apart, and we didn't see any of that. Instead, what we saw was a hard-fought game the entire time, and then Requiem came out on top. Now, Game 2 was probably one of the best games I've ever casted in my entire life. So I'm alongside Ghost because, as everyone knows, Maven got food poisoning. Now, if you guys are wondering, he's fine, he's okay, he's doing better. I think he's perfectly fine. On the way home in the car, he was good. So he had been drinking a little bit, and he decided to walk to McDonald's and get some food, and it just didn't sit well with him. And so he was out. So I was casting with Ghost, and this is a big game. This is the winner of this goes on to lose bracket finals. And so we go into Team Slayer on Onyx, and it's back and forth. We go to an Astro listening. We come in, and it's like 42 to 39 or something like that. And then it's all tied up. And then it becomes all tied up all the way up to 49-49. Now, it's 49-49, and this stalemate, the overshield's been up now for probably about 20 seconds, and the stalemate is, everyone's trying to feel it out. Now, Requiem has a light rifle, so do the members of Ambush. They're sitting there. It's being patient, and, everyone knows where the plasma nades and the frag grenades spawn. So what we're seeing is it's kind of like, two guys around the base, and then one guy around yellow trying to get into a 1v1, but he can't because everyone's watching that. And then the same thing on green. Green, you had guys at both the nerds, as we like to call it, but it's basically the little pocket. So we had two guys. It was a one-on-one at green, and kind of in a weird way like a one-on-one at yellow, but really, there was another guy kind of hovering around in between base and yellow. Now, we're seeing there, people are getting poked down. They're getting poked a little bit and everything, and then we've seen a couple little fights that I was like, ooh, right? Like I'm fucking jumping out of my skin, and nothing crazy happens. And then Formal decides to grab some sticky nades, right? He comes back and he throws it, and it kind of hits Ace, and he gets a little bit cocky, and he pushes forward, and then whoever had the light rifle on Requiem, I'm not sure who it was, fucking annihilates him, right? Like he's just he's just taking shots from everywhere, and he thrusters under the base, and then next thing I knew, somehow, for some reason, Dursky made the decision to push up and try to get the overshield, and he gets killed by Ola. So Ambush wins 50-49. Then Game 3 was Extraction on Haven, and Requiem just... I think it was Haven. Pretty sure it was Haven. Yeah, it was Haven. Requiem really showed... The one thing I noticed from Requiem, which is Requiem. I really fucking hate the team name, dude, just because I can't pronounce it well, right? Like, I'm like, Requiem. I fucking sound like an idiot. So, so I'm watching Ninja, Ace, Dursky, and Legit. And the one thing they do right, which a lot of teams... we see them get kind of caught up in the action, is they know when the fuck to give up on the extraction. Like, that's such a big fucking deal. And so many people don't worry about it. And I'm like, come on, man. When you listen to me cast, I'm like, you have one, maybe two pushes, but even still, it's better to set up for the next one. It's the 5 for a reason. Ninja and friends know that. They know it's the 5 for a reason, and they do an excellent job. They know when to quit. That's a big fucking salute right there to Dursky being the team leader. I know everyone, it sucked. It actually sucked, by the way, picking a caster and an MVP, because all 4 members of Rec were just fucking amazing all weekend long. They're so fucking good. But so, they're very, very disciplined in the sense that they know when the fuck to give up. And so they would set up for the next one, and then it would win. They would win those big individual battles. And it's it's not like a yeah def thing to say when we say you have to be winning your individual battles, because if you get in those battles like top closed and the hill's getting ready to move bottom B and you're in a 1v1 and you have no teammates there and you lose that, like the other team, that's a big fucking advantage. That's a 4-on-3 going into this extraction on B where it's 3 seconds to arm it. You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty big deal. So they're winning all their battles, and then it goes into game 4. And game 4 is capture the flag on Simplex. I'm not sure if Requiem lost that all weekend long. They do a very, 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 very solid job at just basically pushing into the flag. And it's weird, but it's kind of like this unique overload. They obviously they start from the middle grounds and they worry about the overshield and everything like that. But they like to send like a guy like bottom courtyard and do the jump up or go underneath. And if the guy jumping up, well, I don't know if it's on purpose or what I saw. And I'm sure Ninja or if anyone from SQ is watching this, if you could confirm with a tweet to me, because I can't see the fucking chat, that'd be awesome. So what they would like to do is, it seemed as if Legit was normally the guy who was jumping up into the base, and if he got caught jumping in, he would drop down, and then it was almost perfect timing, man. That he had 2 teammates pushing in from either purple or gold, and then he would just come up behind. And what it does is when those 2 guys are pushing in from purple, right? So they grab that flag and they're going out front. Whatever way Legit goes, right? He can tell his teammate that. He's like, guys, I came out yellow side. They're spawning purple. So then Aaron or Dursky or Ninja, whoever's running the flag, can then go to yellow side, right? Because they're spawning purple. It was fucking brilliant. And then Legit or Ninja, whichever one of the 4 was in the base, has the flank on the guys spawning, going purple side. It's fucking beautiful to watch. But so they win that one 5-3, and it sucks because I like Ambush, and I do content with them, and so it's they're all my buddies. So I was like, dude, you guys didn't put the fucking time in, and you didn't look good. I mean, sure, your shots are all fine, but that's only a little bit of the battle. You know what I mean? It's not. The most important thing is for your shot to be good. The most important thing is for you to actually understand the game and everything. And I'm not saying they don't understand the game. It's just there was a little couple changes that needed to be made going into this event that they just weren't aware of because they only got 6 days of practice. It's a curse. Winning every event is a curse. It is. So now let's move on. So Infamous. I'm going to talk about Infamous, then I'm going to talk about Requiem, and then let me see. Who do I want to talk? Well, that's my big story here is Ambush losing, just because I think that's what it should be. Cryptic versus Classic, that was a fucking crazy game on the side station. So what was going on there was, okay, so actually I'm going to talk about this rule right now just so everyone is aware of this for the competitive playing for the times you guys actually show up to that. So, it was, what was it? It was Saturday? No, it was Sunday. It was Sunday morning, and we have, it's Sunday morning, and we have Classic taking on Cryptic, okay? Cryptic wins game 1, Classic wins game 2, and it goes into game 3. Now, game 3 is it's going to be Extraction on Haven. Now, I guess there was a little bit of a break or something weird or something to that extent. So there's a little bit of a break and a pause, and then they decide to start the game. So they start the game, and one of the members of Cryptic, which is going to be Winter and the Spectre and those guys, one of the members on that team spawned, and so he went to run and jump, and I guess he didn't have the right settings, so he fell off the map, and then by the time he fell off the map, the members of Classic were in a position where they could be arming it, but regardless it was a 4-on-3, and so guys on Cryptic ended the game. And so right there that's no, don't fucking do that. You don't do that. So instead of contacting the ref and being hey, dude, I have the wrong settings. Can we restart? You can't end a game without the ref's permission. It sucks, and I understand that, but there is no reason for you to be quitting out of the game. And the reason is because you fell off the map. That's 10 seconds, right? You can hit start, you can go to your button layouts, and you can change it right there. 10 seconds. It's one death. It's not the end of the world. Granted, it's not, ideal in any way, shape, or form, but you can't fucking end the game, man. Like, that's the worst thing that could happen there, was that you decided to end the game, especially when it was a 1-1 series, and then Classic goes up 2-1, and then they destroy you and capture the flag on dispatch. So, does the ruling suck? Yes, because it was a very, very good series, and I think everyone wanted to see that kind of what could have happened there, is because, Cryptic came up, they were fresh and early, and, maybe Classic wasn't doing the best, and we could have seen an upset there. But it's not the case, because you decided to end the fucking game. So, good job, bro. So, really, what we take from this is do not, whatever you do when you're at a tournament, do not end the game without the ref's permission. It's how it is. It's not fun. It isn't. It's a very, very crappy ruling sometimes, but it is what it is. So then, let's see, that puts Cryptic at 7th, 8th, and then BTH versus GMM. I already talked a little bit about GMM. GMM, very, very, very disciplined team. Actually kind of surprised that Elitis and the crew actually did as well as they did. When I saw GMM form, I was kind of like, oh, they're just kind of coming here to maybe see some gamer girls or, hang out, and it wasn't the case, man. I guess they put in a lot of decent time, and they were playing against the top players, and they finished 5th, 6th. So, like, the big thing about them is I think where they finish is right around where they'll be at, but they still have to keep playing. If they continue to play, like, they're going to keep getting better and better and better. But right now, for GMM getting 5th, 6th, amazing. Now, how they got to 5th, 6th is they beat BTH. Now, really? Like, BTH has Assault, and, it's Assault, it's Cloud, Maniac, and, God, why can't I remember that? Why can't I think of it? Whatever. It'll come to me. If anyone can tweet me that'd be amazing. Because my chat's still just broken. So, they're, like, the big thing here was, they had 2 weeks of practice. They didn't know how well they were going to do. Cleat, a.k.a. Assault, this is his first time playing, really, in 2 weeks. Like, the 2 weeks is basically the only practice he's had in Halo 4. Like, that's it. He's playing humongous games of catch-up here, and he may not be playing with the best people who are going to catch him up because they may not have put in as much time as they needed. It's snakebite. Thank you, Impended. David, also an awesome good guy who's a free agent. I'll retweet him. You guys can see him. He's a great guy. So, they have Snakebite, so PJ and Assault. PJ's played a little bit of Halo 4 in the past. He went to Nashville. He got top 4. But that's really it. Other than that, he could have been on SQ going into this event. It didn't happen. It is what it is. So then, when I look at some of the upsets here, because I really want to save Infamous and Requiem for dead last. Like, my big surprise, obviously, is fucking Ambush losing. Unbelievable. Some of the big ones, for me, I thought Pure was just heartbreaking. God. So, for those of you who may not know, Lifestyle was actually going to be their 4th. Okay? So, Lifestyle was going to the event. Pure was looking good. They were feeling good. They were all pumped up and everything, and if Lifestyle's there, maybe there's a good chance that they would have beat SQ and they would have advanced to play Requiem in the semifinals. But that's not what happened. Instead, they take Status Quo to Game 5, Team Slayer on Skyline, I believe, and they lose. So Lifestyle, I forget what his tweets were I think maybe something with, like his liver or something with the supplements he was taking, like he had like a chain reaction or anything, and he didn't know how to talk to people because he didn't want to make people like feel let down and stuff like that. He didn't want to let anyone down, and it was all fucking chaotic with him, and his girlfriend dumped him. I don't know. There's a bunch of crazy shit. Do I believe any of it? I think Lifestyle is a guy who really likes going to events, and I hope to God that it was the truth, and that's where I stand on it. Does it suck? Absolutely. It's a fucking scumbaggery of the year, probably. No, not of the year. Absolutely not of the year. But it was scumbaggery, to say the very least. So now, we're sitting there, and they pick up Elamite, Loophole Lion, Kyle. By the way, if you guys are watching this, the Loophole Lion himself, that video, will be being released on my YouTube event, like, probably in the next 2 or 3 days. So be on the lookout for that. It's probably the funniest Skype conversation over the game of The Last of Us in the history of the world, and you're not going to fucking believe that it's real. You're just not. You're going to think I'm a fucking liar. But so, pure getting outside the top 8 is like, come on, man. And they did such a questionable thing, and it really pissed me off because our buddy Impended, I call him the black version of Pistola because, well, they have basically the same exact interest. They both have glasses, and they're both they're not both really good at the game because he hasn't really performed on LAN yet because he hasn't a chance, but he's good online. So they're both good. And, we told him, I told Pierre, I said, pick up Impended. And Maven was like, pick up Impended. And they fucking laughed in his face. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to pick up Elamite Warrior, who doesn't even fucking play the game. And you're not going to trust us, with our opinion? Like, really? Like, I watch Halo. That's what I do. I don't have any biased nature towards anyone because, I play against them and I outshoot them. That means nothing to me. I don't do that. I watch. If I think you make good decisions and everything like that, then I will tell you. I give you the stamp of approval. And if I'm wrong, I admit when I'm wrong. It was something, oh, God, what was it? It was like a tack. Some little midget just threw a tack in my eye. Oh, that's awful. Oh. Naded, right? I completely, he fucking wins the battle versus me, man. He's got it. Naded showed up, he fucking kicked ass. I get it. He's it. He did it. So, I'm man enough when I can say I'm wrong, which is why I feel like I can state my opinion because I'm not a pussy. So they don't pick up Impended, and it didn't matter to me, who they picked up. I wanted it to be Impended, obviously, but it was the start of why people aren't listening to me. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just pissed me off. So if you're ever in that spot and you need a fourth, listen to someone who actually watches the game, especially when it's 2 people who watch the game, myself and Maven, and he plays all the time. Anyways, so Pierre gets fucking outside the top 8, which really sucks for them. I think moving forward here, if they're still on the same side as SQ, I think it's going to be tough, but I don't see SQ sticking together. So, which leads me into SQ. So, first and foremost, I will like to say that I was 100% correct that Status Quo would beat Requiem in the winner's bracket. That was me. Now, if Requiem would have played anything like they did on Saturday, they would have fucking mopped the floor with SQ. But that's not what happened, which I'm glad because I gambled on the game, and so I was completely gambling on it versus Goofy, and Goofy lost. So take that, Goofy. Eat my ass. But so the big thing with Status Quo here. Status Quo was possibly the world's slowest team to ever get top 3 in the history of the fucking world. They just... Honestly, watching them the entire weekend, they just didn't move. I don't know how to explain it. They were just slow. Efficiency-wise with, sprint and everything, they were just slow. They don't... I don't think they understand, how fast you actually have to be in this game. And how quick your decision-making has to be, and how easily you can get into enemy team's base. Skyline, for example, okay? Everyone knows the most broken spawn... Sorry, it makes me sick to my fucking face. Everyone knows, the most broken spawn in the game, right? When you get your DMR, but it's so, top middle, right? You have top middle. Go down the ramp, and this is blue DMR, back here. And over here is red needles. When you get the red needle spawn, and it's basically top middle, so you're at the carbine, okay? So you're in front of the benches of the carbine. or you spawn directly below that at the column or the corner, that spawn, you shoot straight in their base. You don't fucking go on a flank unless, it's a numbers thing. You shoot straight in their base and you grab that flag. SQ would, try to go top middle. And then by going top middle and trying to flank back to their DMR, they just were always, cycling but halfway around the map. I don't know. Basically, status quo. They had a very, very good, fortunate bracket, and they were lucky to catch Requiem sleeping on Saturday night. Other than that, status quo, they're not made for this game right now. These 4 players aren't made for this game. Each of them need to kind of and go to people who actually understand Halo 4. And it sucks because I love Bestman, I love Neighbor, I love Flames, and I love Enable. By the way, for those of you who didn't know, Flames is a humongous pussy who spent 30 minutes throwing up Sunday night. What a douchebag. I'm kidding, I love you, buddy. I just had to throw you out there because, well, I can. So now let's talk about the 2 heavy hitters here. Assuming nothing changes with teams, which God knows we might see something crazy happen, but assuming nothing changes, I think depending on what kind of mentality we're looking at with Richie Hines, everyone knows the whole girl thing, and that's mental wise, man, that's a big fucking thing, and they just got 4th, right? It's a really, really big deal. So depending on how everything goes with him mentally and how everyone else is, and if they're able to get into a good practice regimen and everything like that, to my knowledge, I think they're staying together. Do I think that's the right thing I do? Fuck yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. I don't see why you would want it any other way. But so, they lost one event. They took 4th. They just won the other ones. Mistakes happen. It's just how it is. But so, looking at it and assuming the best, Ambush will be back in the finals. Maybe. Right? They might be back in the finals. It's kind of weird though. I don't know. When I say their name, I don't know if I see them in the top 2 really anymore. They got fucking annihilated by Infamous. They got their assholes lit on fire. So let's talk about Infamous now. Infamous. I gotta learn to plan my drinks of water better than that. I just get I just get in the zone and I'm like, okay, I am taking the sip of water right the fuck now. But so, Infamous, the big thing about Infamous was that everyone knew going into this event that they had the potential to do the shit that they did. But we didn't know what the translation was going to be from online to LAN. Barely anyone trusted that Lethal was good, right? They were like, oh, he's on BTH, he was getting 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, there's no fucking way. And, so that's always fucking laughable. And then some people question Naded, really myself. That's me. I question Naded, and he fucking raped, so he has my respect forever. Because anyone who dethrones a team like Ambush, they get it. But so then you had Naded, and then a really good noob and Goofy. And, it sucked for Goofy because Goofy's been kind of living in Ninja's shadow. But not even living in the shadow. Ninja's just fucking casted complete shade over Goofy. And people put a lot of pressure on Goofy. They put a lot of pressure on Goofy when he was on Warriors. And they said, oh, I don't think he's that good. Or he's inconsistent. Or he's the reason why they got fucking 4th or 3rd. Or fucking whatever it was, right? But, so he had a lot to prove going in this event. And Goofy, I pulled him aside Saturday night, and I said, I was fucking around with him, but he was coming into the sub shop, and sitting there, and I was eating, and I was like, yo, so, Faisal, let me ask you something. And he goes, shoot. And I go, when did you get good at this game? Right? And I was like, when did you actually become relevant? Why are you shooting good, right? And he was like, dude, that's big guy. I was like, I'm fucking with you. I'm kidding. Relax. But it feels good to actually, get the spotlight now, right? A little bit. You're happy? And he was like, yeah, man, I've been really confident with my team, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, thanks for the interview question. Thought we were just sitting here bullshitting at the sub shop, but fucking awesome, right? Hoorah. Now, Then you have Rynoob. Now, Rynoob, I full-heartedly believe if there's one person who should not have a Twitter, it's Rynoob. I think he has just no idea how to talk to people or how to watch Halo, but, he's got one. And so that's what we deal with, but he's a fucking savage. Rynoob understands Halo 4. I don't think... And I said it before this event even happened. I said, if there was a prophecy to see a team beat Ambush, it would have a really good noob on it. And who the fuck beat him first? It was a really good noob. So fucking, that's right, Slytherin and all, right? He understands the game, and he saves careers. It's official. He officially can save anyone's career, even lethal. It's wild. He understands the game, and with this team, Infamous is such a selfless team. Like, they really are. Like, no one gives a shit about the sniper rifle. No one cares about anything besides getting in the enemy's base. I can't tell you how many times I'd be sitting there in, like, an Astro lesson, and I'm like, if I was a coach, like, I know exactly what I'd say. I'd say, look bottom middle. Like, or check our flag. Like, there's basically... a really good noob, even like when we dial it back to like Halo Reach, he was known for one thing. To me, capture the flag on Countdown from 2011 all the way through 2012. A really good noob did the same fucking starting strat on Countdown CTF every single fucking time. He ran front his window, level 2 snipe, to in their base and grab the flag within 5 fucking seconds. Every single time, no hesitation. That was it. Is all he did every single time. And I'd sit there in the booth and I was like, oh, he's going to run flag. I hope someone stays back just so they can kill him. And no one would. Well, a really good noob now has 3 other teammates who are willing to just sacrifice their life to try to get a flagpole. Now, how they look, well, from my perspective, how Infamous perceives objective games is they like to put people in a dilemma. They like to make them make the decision. So sending Naded or Rynoob or Goofy or Lethal bottom middle, like let's just take a draft. Sending them like bottom middle to basement or the first door and to grab that flagpole when they're, like versus fucking, who was it? Who did they beat on a drift capture the flag? I forget. Whatever. Oh, it was versus SQ. I think it was. It was game 1 of the winners bracket finals. Naded sneaks in behind him and just grabs the flag, right? And he gets in like a one-on-one and he just stays alive and then he cleans him up with the pistol. It was fucking disgusting. And he's running bottom middle, right? Meanwhile, you have 3 members of Status Quo who have to now make the decision. Do they push on the enemy's base or do they double back? Regardless, what happens there is you have to have communication, and you have to all be on the same page. As soon as you double back, you're losing a second and a half. That's a lot when we're talking about ground to be made up with, especially on a drift. So they go back, and then they like double back again, and then they decide to push. And by the time they push, like that flag's basically there. So they're praying to God that they get clutch with their shots. Didn't happen. So that's flag 1. Infamous uses the flag, and they use what I like to call the objective dilemma. This is way back in the day for those of you guys who remember Shockwave and everything like that in Halo 2. In Carbon, we like to put people in the objective dilemma when we first beat Final Boss. And what we mean by that is you make the other team decide whether you should stop the flag or go get the other flag. It's very, very weird. It works for some teams, other teams it doesn't. But this team, it fucking works because they're so fast. And normally they get off to an early lead, right? And that's kind of big. So when they get up to an early lead and they're still putting the pressure on and still pulling those flags, like your enemy normally has to double back and go for it. So on a drift, when you're making them fucking second guess themselves, it's over. And so looking at it, I mean, Infamous, this was their tournament to lose, and it was, and they did. When you're in the finals, okay, so it's a little bit dicey, and I don't understand the entire rule set behind it. I know Ghost Ayami does, so I'm going to leave that up to him whenever he does all his bullshit. But so, when you're in the winners bracket finals, and you win, and you're sitting there in the grand finals, a team who has never played you before has to still beat you twice. Okay, so they have to knock you down to into the losers, and then they have to beat you again. So it's weird because you still have to win 6 games. Okay, like if whoever has to win 6 games, or the loser has to win 6 games, but the winner doesn't have to win 6 games. The winner has to win basically 3. Okay. If he wins the first 3, it's game over. Okay, so then you start up the new series, and then when they're playing the second series, if they win 3, it's over. So the loser has to win 6, and really the winner only has to win 3 total. So it's a big fucking advantage for Infamous in going into this finals. Like, they only have to win fucking 3 games in one series. That's it. So it favors them a lot. Now, a lot of people were seeing, like, a lot of people talk about, like, oh, we want to see a best of 11 instead of, 2 best of 5s, and I said, I don't fucking know. Like, sure, man, do your thing. I don't know what's the right call. I think he should have an advantage, so I think it helps, but if it's best of 11 is what they want, then I guess. It's a weird pill for me to swallow, and I don't understand it just because it seems like the best of 11 is the right thing to do, but if the 2 best of 5s gives someone the advantage, then I think that's just as appropriate. I don't know. But anyways, I'm not here to talk about that. So Infamous is in the grand finals. Okay, they have beat Ambush. They have beat Classic, and now they will just beat Status Quo. This entire time, I'm watching that, and I say to myself, I said, Infamous is really fucking good. Like, they understand things. They really do. They were hands down better than Ambush at this event, and so is Requiem. Both of those teams are fucking better, period. Now, I know a lot of people can chalk up and come up with 1,000 excuses for Ambush here. But doing content with them and being basically alongside of them, I can say safely that these 2 teams were ahead of us. But so, Infamous, each player took different turns stepping up. And, the one thing that I can honestly say about Ambush, a really good noob, is that whenever he has a shitty game, and he normally does, he has like one shitty game, but the next game he like fucking always destroys. I don't know how that always works out for him, but that's essentially how it goes. So a really good noob knows that. He's got that going for him, to say the very least. So whenever he sucks ass in an objective game, he does very, very good in the next game, which is normally the Team Slayer. But really, I don't see, if Infamous sticks together, I don't see them ever leaving the top 2. I don't. As it stands right now, I can see Ambush outside of the top 2. I just don't know what's going to happen with Ambush. I mean, everyone's kind of asking, like, oh, man. Like, what are they going to stick together? Like, are they going to work out? Are they going to start practicing more? No one has any fucking clue. But I'll tell you what, if they do break up, we're in for a whirlwind of shit. Whirlwind. I'm talking fucking craziness. And I love them all. Love them all. I still think, in my personal opinion, that 4 and 1 Ola are the 2 best players in this game, but whew, Jesus Christ. I guess someone just tweeted me, and it said, talk about Team Killer APG. Alright, so look, here's the story with APG. APG is a player who right now needs to kind of get his life on track. I'm not here to talk about, a bunch of different bullshit, but he's doing some stuff that's questionable, and that's that. APG is not a bad teammate. And Classic is not a bad team. They really aren't. I hope they stay together. I know Roy is flirting with the idea of possibly retiring and everything like that, so that's whatever. But, APG is just not, he isn't a team killer. He's really fucking good at the game. In fact, I still think he's in the top 10 players right now as it stands, just based on his raw talent. The problem that Classic faced was they lost to the two best teams in the game. At the event, they lose to 1-2. That's cliche classic in every way. Every way, that's cliche classic. They lose to the first place team and then get beat by the second place team. Done. That's how it's been at every other event, besides UMG where they took second. Before that, first and second. Done. That's how it is. That's the curse of classic. I think classic will probably see a little bit of a shakeup, especially if Roy leaves. I don't know who we'll see in place of that. But APG is still good. I think APG, his mental game is kind of fucked. I think that was his big thing. I think his big thing was I think he worried too much about this ride noob curse, and he didn't put enough stock into his own team or his own basically abilities. And everyone knows he gets like the worst batch of tournament depression of all time. Now, tournament depression is like my own personal like psychological disorder that I give gamers. And that's like, they come home from an event and they're like, oh my God. They don't look at themselves in the mirror. They're disgusted. They stay off Twitter. They don't look at the forums. They don't do shit. You know what they do instead? They fucking just make one tweet and they just look for attention. Right? It's basically post-tournament depression is equivalent to being a 15-year-old girl who just got called fat when really you're skinny and you're looking for a compliment. So APG tweets out, he's like, oh man, I fucking quit, I'm done, and he just wants people to tell him he's good. Right? That's that's really where they're at. And it's true. That's where he's at. I'm sorry, I was typing to someone, and someone just tweeted me a bunch of bullshit. So, that's APG. APG isn't fucking... He's not a team killer. His mental game just kind of is shit. And I think he's on the right track of getting it better and better. And I'm texting him, and I'm trying to help him out where I can. Because I've been down that same road, man, but I just never was a bitch about it. But so let's talk about the grand fucking finale here, right? Yeah, let's talk about Team Requiem. Now, I'm going to send out a tweet, and you're going to hear me fucking thump. Because I think, one, Requiem deserves it, and that's that. So give me 2 seconds here, and if you guys want to retweet the tweet, feel free. And I will love you all. But anyways, you don't have to. Don't feel obligated to. So, Requiem, this team on paper, I fucking first saw it, and I said, there is no way in hell. There's no way in hell that this team is going to be good. I said I don't think they have the firepower. I think they're going to get outclassed by people. And Saturday, I was 100% right. Saturday, they got outclassed by Team Status Quo. And I thought I called that happening. I really did. And I thought, and then I looked at the bracket, and then I said, in the losers bracket, when Ambush lost, and I said, well, Requiem's going to get 4th, or 5th, 6th. Like, I put no faith in them. Boy, was I fucking wrong. So Requiem, as I already talked about, beats Classic. I already talked about it earlier, they beat Ambush. So they go in to the losers bracket where they are down 3-2, and they do exactly what they're supposed to do, and they come out and they win the game. And they make it like 4-3, and so then it's like Haven, or what was it? I forget what game Quo won, but Quo wins one game, and it was like 4-4, and then Requiem closed out. And as soon as they closed out, I was sitting there. Well, it was actually on the Haven Team Slayer game. I was sitting there. I was like, Status Quo may win this game, and we may see like a game 11. Like, it's a possibility. And then saying to myself, I said, I really don't want to see them win. I said, I really don't want to see Status Quo win. And I know a lot of people are sitting there like, oh, you're fucking biased. And I'm like, whatever. I don't care. People can say like, oh, you're biased to this team or that team. It means nothing to me. I care about putting on the best show for the viewer, and I knew if Status Quo emerged out of the losers bracket finals, they were going to get steamrolled in a 6-0 fashion that was just going to be disgusting and repulsive to watch. If you guys watched SQ vs. Infamous before, it was ugly. Ugly. So I was really, really fucking pumped, and I said, Requiem, if they come out of here, like, they have a humongous hill to climb. Humongous. So, they do. They get into the grand finals, And as I talked about before, they have to win the first best-of-5 game series, no questions asked, or else Infamous is winning, okay? They come out, they win the first 2 games. They are fucking scary, man. Like, there's times when you can watch a team play and you realize, like, they have the world behind them. And what I mean by that is they just are doing it all. They're winning their battles. They're putting on a show for the fucking crowd. Their communication's good. Their trash talk isn't taking their own team's heads out of the game. By the way, if you guys didn't watch the All-Star game, I'm the world's best coach. Moving forward, you got a taste of the trash talk. Well, be lucky I'm not playing still. You understand? But, like, everything was this perfect concoction of exactly what it needed to be for them to win. And so watching them, I was like, dude, they are going to fucking 3-0 Infamous in this first game 5, in this first best of 5. And then we go to Station 9. So we're sitting there, and I look over, and I see my buddy with his backwards hat and his blazer, and poke his cheeks, because he's so cute. And I go, Ghost. We're going into Station 9. This is Ninja's favorite game type. It's also his best game type. I think we may honestly see a 3-0 sweep here in this first best-of-5 series and jump into the next one. Ghost was like, yeah, man, Requiem, Requiem's like the best. I'm working on my Ghost impression. I'll have it down. I just need a backwards hat. I'll be all right. I'll take off my glasses. And so they fucking win that game 3. Like, Infamous wins the game 3, and I think it was like 5-3, Station 9, something like that, Extraction. And then game number 4, they win. And I go, dude, there's no way. Like, when that happened, I said, Infamous is they're just too good. When they were down 2-0 and they came back to force the game 5, I said, well, Requiem, they had a lot in the tank. They used all the gas in their tank, and then they were running out. They didn't want that Game 5 to happen. Obviously, they didn't. They were up 2-0, and that's how it was going to be. But so in that Game 5, I said, maybe there's a good chance that Infamous just need to be warmed up. It's always tough when you're in the finals to stay warmed up because you want to watch the series, right? And so you end up going to the side station, and you're just playing warm-up free-for-alls. You're not really playing against the team, so when you warm up against your teammates and you're just shooting, sure, your shots can be on, but there's a lot more stuff that goes into it. When you warm up, now we're seeing is teams basically have to warm up. Well, it actually happened in Halo 3 as well. But you want to warm up versus a team, so you get your communication going, you get everything there, you get talking, you get vocal, you guys get happy, everyone's on the same page. So I figured that's just what was happening. They were down 2-0, they got caught sleeping a little bit, and then they forced the Game 5, and then I thought it was going to be a 3-2. Not the case. Requiem wins Game 5, and then we go into the next series. So next series, I looked over and I said, Ghost, I think we were in a commercial. I said, Ghost, there's just no way that this is about to happen. He goes, what do you mean? And I said, I know you probably never paid attention, but no team has ever won a tournament when they had to beat the team in 2 best-of-5 series. It's never fucking happened. Ever in the history of competitive Halo. So there's no fucking way it can happen. It's like, if it happens, like, my mind's fucking gone. Like, I won't know what to think. And he goes, well, I think it might happen. Sure enough, they go up 2-0. Okay, so now, ow! Oh! It's like a shard of glass. So, anyways, Requiem goes up 2-0. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, my jaw's, I don't know what the fuck to think. I really don't. At this point, I am at loss. And then I saw Haven Extraction. And I said to myself, that's Ambush's best game type. Okay? Ambush got beat by Requiem on this game type. Requiem 3-0s. But I didn't say this on air because I was like, we're going to go to another best of 5, right? Like, I was fucking pumped. And I was just trying to milk as many viewers as possible, right? And we fucking shattered. We'll talk about that later. Well, so I'm sitting there, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, fucking Christ, it's Haven Extraction. And sure enough, Infamous does not disappoint, and they make it 2-1. They win that game type. Now, Those 3 games I didn't talk about a lot just because at that point I'd been casting 8 games in a row, and basically Halo was a fucking blur. But I remember this game 9 like it's the back of my hand. That's the last bit of water, boys. Show's getting ready to come to an end. So we're sitting there, and we see capture flag on Simplex, and I go, okay. I said, okay. All right, Scott, we can do this. A lot of energy, a lot of focus. Get your head in the fucking game. So, casually drink an energy drink. And I go in there. We go into the game. It's game number 4, capture flag Simplex. I said to myself, this is going to go game 5. Like, there's no doubt in my mind anymore this is going game 5. Capture flag Simplex, and the reason why I gave Infamous the advantage over Requiem was just because I thought, Requiem got the best of Ambush on it, but I didn't think they were going to be able to get the best of Infamous on it. Now, the reason why I say that is just because, the same kind of thing. I think the objective dilemma, when you pull that flag from the enemy and you're just always in their base, even when they have, they're starting to gain midfield and only one of them's dead and you grab that flag, they have to turn around. And by turning around, on Simplex, just because it's a much smaller map as well, it buys your teammates so much time. And so I figured the nerdiness of Rynoob and the guys of Infamous would outclass Requiem. Sure enough, I was wrong. So we get into it, and it is back and forth, and we get to the scenario where it's, I think it was like 3-4, something to that extent, and, yeah, I think it was all tied up 3-3, okay? And so Lethal gets a back gold spawn, okay? So Infamous has Requiem's flag in their base, okay? In their base, they have it. So it's like the pink front window. So here's your window of your base. This is gold. This is gold side. This is purple. So this is the window. He has the flag right here. He has it right here on purple, right where my fist is. And so he spawns here. Well, whichever member of Requiem did it, they jumped in. They were smart because they knew they didn't have time to get the flag to get the flag returned. So they grab the flag and they throw it, and they basically lunge themselves bottom middle. Lethal sprints, and he comes around and he cuts to the front. And he had a decision to make, and his decision was pretty simple. He basically thought that he had enough time to nade, because it's a simple bounce nade in the window. Everyone knows it. Just skip it, and in the direction of the flag, where the flag's going, you just skip it and you one-shot him. So he skips the grenade, cleans up the fucking guy, turns, flag just fucking appears right in basically in his hands, and that was like, my heart for Lethal, man. TJ, I would say my heart just dropped. I didn't know what the fuck to think. I just felt so bad for the guy. Like, I really did. And even still thinking about it, man, it's just tough. It just disappeared right there. And then on top of that, same situation, Lethal was trying to jump up, and he was up on the flag, and then right on his plat. He did the quick jump up. The flag dropped right through. So 2 things went wrong. But so the main difference here is the fact that Requiem was able to basically convert all of their caps, and that's humongous. And the other thing is we saw Requiem takes very different flag routes than a lot of teams, and what I mean by that is sometimes we see is Ambush or Classic or really even Infamous a little bit. We can even take them when they'll kill their enemy, they'll kill them all. Right, well, they'll kill, and when they go to pull the flag, sometimes they'll drop and pull it purple, and try to go purple, so before purple, purple side red, and they'll cut up by the DMR and they'll try to go pink 1 or pink 2. It just, I don't think it works anymore. And what Requiem would do is they would get the flag out and they would run it, and they would hug bottom middle on the outside of bottom middle of purple or gold, depending on where they were at, and then they would jump over the barrier. And the reason why you do that is because when you're running bottom middle outside of it, you have those 2 little weird fucking structures, little squares out there, little planks or whatever the hell you want to call it. that if you can jump over that one right in front of your base as the guy shooting you in the back, because it's inevitable, it's going to happen. If he's drilling you in the back and you can jump over and kind of get down, you are going to live for a while, and that's going to buy your teammates a lot of time to get your back. So you're sitting there, you're waiting for your shields, waiting for your buddies to come and help you out, and you fucking go. You're gone. Then you can do the jump up and you're there. Requiem would do this flag drop just about every single time. And I was like, well, that's got to be it. And, obviously bottom middle is the most direct route to your base. So obviously it's the fastest cap. And it's something that I've been fucking saying since AGL 5. I said, dispatch, simplex, like flat. Well, actually, no, not AGL 5 for simplex, because as everyone knows, simplex changes every time, so that's not it. But as soon as bottom middle was open, I was like, you run that flag bottom middle, like you're there. But, high risk, high reward, because, it's very easy to nade there. But dispatch, it's like, I see no, at this next event coming up, I see no reason why every team will not be running the flag top middle and or bottom middle. I think left and rights are just fucked. I do. I really do. I don't think we're ever going to see flags run that way ever again. It's done. It's just too long, man. It's like 18-second cap or 15-second cap, something just retarded. And really, when you think about it, it ends up being like a minute, because you're bound to get naded and you're bound to get sniped or shot, and then you die, and then your teammate dies trying to put it in, and then the enemy pulls your fucking flag, and then the flag's out, and you grab the flag, and then you're in a stalemate. So really, it's like a fucking 12-minute cap. So fuck you for running the flags that way. I've been saying that shit since AGL 5, motherfuckers. Run it top middle, run it bottom middle, that's it. Sure, it's situational, but I will be willing to say that 65 to 75% of the flags at our next event will all be ran top middle or bottom middle. Moving forward. So, Requiem, they have single-handedly, and I texted this to Ninja today, they have single-handedly won the most memorable comeback in Halo history for me. Never ever has that ever happened in all of my years of doing Halo. It's just never fucking happened. And they did it. So, big, huge motherfucking salute to you guys. It's awesome. I really don't know what to say, but I can admit that I was 100% wrong about this team. I hope the best for all of you. The only thing that sucked was actually having to do the caster's choice and the MVP. That was fucking dreadful. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do like co-caster choice and co-MVP, because any four of you could have it interchangeably. I thought Ninja stat-wise definitely deserved MVP, but I think for what he brought to the table, I think Dursky gets it. And then caster's choice was like the same thing, and then it was like in between Ace and fucking legit, and really my vote went like this. I said, well, legit won the free-for-all last time. Fuck him. Sorry, Brian. I love you like a sister. But so the big story here is Halo is officially interesting. And from here on out, moving forward, I think Requiem has the bullet painted on the back, obviously because they won. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I've been talking for like a little over an hour now. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching me and supporting me this past weekend. It means a fucking lot. Tonight I may do a podcast. I'm not sure. So follow me on Twitter and stay tuned. Other than that, I love you, but I don't love you. Take it easy.